Hey everyone, welcome back. This video, I'm going to be fixing my original Xbox. And the problem I'm having, it's not turning on. And I've already been inside, the capacitors look a bit rough. So yeah, I'm gonna solder in my new capacitors. Got them right here. My version is a 1.6, so I don't need to use the clock capacitor. I'm just going to do the other 5. So yeah, let's unplug this thing and open it up. So to open up the case, there's 6 screws in the bottom. Some people are going to cringe that I cut the stickers, but this case isn't in that great a condition anyway, so I didn't care. So there's 2 screws in the middle. And there's one under every foot. So you just kind of peel back the foot halfway, and you can take the screw out without removing the foot. And I just stick the foot back down. This Xbox was working a few months ago before I took my basement apart. Then I put it in storage for a few months, and when I brought it back out, it didn't work anymore. So, it's kind of disappointing, because I really like my original Xbox. Okay, so we flip it back over. We just pop the case off if it wants to. There we go. And there we are. So I should point out that the 6 big case bolts on the bottom are a Torx. They're a T20, and all the screws inside, I believe, are a T10. There's a screw right there holding this stuff down. I'll probably switch screwdrivers to a magnetic one. There we go, got the old LTT screwdriver, which is very expensive, but it actually works really well. The screw down here in the front. Another screw beside the disk drive in the middle. And then need to untuck this wire from all its hold downs. There, and I'm going to pop the plug out from the back of the hard drive. It's very tight, just work it back and forth, out it comes. Okay, so hoping I can leave the ribbon cable attached. We'll find out as I get through it. I have had this Xbox apart before, but it's been a very long time. No, I might have to try to pull that out, or not. Okay, we're gonna leave that on. And the disk drive just lifts out. Unplug that, and unplug the disk drive. And I'll see if I can get this guy off the board. Oh yeah, perfect. Set the hard drive aside. Okay, so I'll give you a closer look at these capacitors. You can see they're just ruined. They've been leaking a long time. So those 5 tall ones are going in the dumpster. So next I need to get the board out of here. So we're going to unplug this guy. Go. That's the from the power supply. And take out this little yellow guy here, which I believe is for the power buttons. And this plug here is for controller ports. Same with the one over here. Okay. And I need to get this fan disconnected. There we go. Okay. Time to take the board out. Now, I never had an original Xbox when I was growing up. I had a PS2. I remember all through high school, there was a kid in my class who was all about Xbox. And he would always try to convince me that the Xbox was superior to my PS2, and I wouldn't have any of it. I would always fight him on it, but I had never actually used an Xbox. And now that I have both, I think that kid was right the whole time. I like my Xbox a bit more than my PS2. I don't hate my PS2, but the Xbox, I think, is the superior system. I gotta take out those two. It should be all the screws. Oh no, one more here. That's 10 screws total holding this board in. I'm just gonna lift up the front, slide it forward, move these plugs out of the way, and out it comes. There we go. Now I can put the shell aside. Okay, so I'm just going to go at it with a Sharpie here and mark each capacitor on the bottom, just so I can quickly locate them without having to flip the board over every time. 2 and right there. And the Sharpie will clean off when I clean this thing with alcohol after I solder it. Okay, so I don't know how well you're going to see any of this, but I'll try to keep things from moving. I've just got these screwdriver handles underneath the board so it doesn't rock when I press on it. And we'll see if my solder sucker still works. It's been a few years since I've used it. So all I'm going to do here is heat up the solder. Which is not heating. Cool. I'll add a little extra solder to it, which will help lower the melting point, hopefully. Either that or my soldering iron is just not very good anymore. Yeah, that's just not melting. What about that one? Okay. Yeah, that is just not heating up. This soldering iron might not be good anymore. Alright. Alright, so I've switched back to my old tip, which is really ugly and big, but it is working. A new tip just doesn't transfer the heat like this old one does. I'm just going to heat it up. There we go. And I'm going to bend the capacitor to one side as I heat it. And there we go. Out it comes. Heat this one a little bit more. There. And we have our first capacitor out. Now, luckily, it doesn't look like it's been leaking out the bottom. Actually, this is the one that didn't leak at all. It's definitely expanded. But, yeah, it's done. All I'm going to do here is take a little bit of wick and clean out the hole. Yeah. Oh, nice clean holes. A little more there. There. Good. On to the next one. There's this one right there. I'm putting a little sideways pressure on the capacitor. I'll heat up that terminal, that peg, and there, out it comes. Same with this guy here. Out it comes. Heat up that one once more. There we go. Oop. One more capacitor. This one also didn't leak out the bottom, but the top is just wrecked. Go wick these holes out. There we go. And the next one. There. Nice clean holes. Right. And we'll heat up that one. There we go. Out it comes. Heat up that one. A little more. That one again. Out it comes. There we go. That's another really bad one. Also didn't leak out the bottom, which is really nice. So I don't have to do any repairs on the board. We're gonna wick it. I have to wick that one from the top. That's fine. And the next one is right beside it, right here. There. Lost grip of it. Back. There. There we go. Another one that's not as bad as the others, but still wrecked. All right, and where's my wick? There. Clean these guys up. Okay. And where's capacitor 5? Up over here. There. All 5 capacitors removed. Just wick these holes. Cool, nice and clean. I'm going to try to do these other two again. No, I'm going to have to do those two from the other side. There, that cleaned out really nice. There we go, nice and clean. Do this next one here. Okay, that looks not too bad. We'll quickly get that one too. Get that one again. Not quite clean. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. I'll give you guys a closer look now. There you go. You can see all the capacitor spots. All nice and clean and ready for new capacitors. Okay, let's get some new capacitors in here. So, you see the stripe down the side here is the negative leg. And that lines up with the shaded section of these circles. It's always good to take a picture of your capacitors before you remove them so you know which way to orient them, because it definitely matters which way they go in. That. I'm going to just start with two. Just like that. Make sure they're straight. You know, let's just do one at a time. I'm not going to mess around with this. Make sure you can see that. And then we'll just put a little dab of solder in each one. Don't need a crazy amount. Okay, that's all that needs. Next capacitor is right there. Okay, get this guy soldered in too. Okay, that looks good. Now, before I finish this thing up, I will look at it closer with a magnifier and make sure these are properly soldered. And the next one. Go. Okay, so for this one, I wasn't able to support the other side with my wood block, so I just bent the legs a little bit. There. That should be good. Now, I'm going to take a closer look at this with my magnifier. Okay, under closer inspection, all the solder joints look good. So I'm just going to take my flush cutters and cut all these little tabs off. Putting my hand over the top so they don't all launch across the room, and then I step on them and it's a bad time. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol, 91% in this case, and a Q-tip, and I'm just gonna scrub the board around these things, try to get it all clean, make it look nice. If it's not super clean, I don't really care. There, that looks okay. Okay, it's time to put this thing back together and see if it actually turns on. Actually, I should show you one more thing on the board here. This is the clock capacitor, and being a version 1.6 board, this thing's actually in excellent condition. So you don't have to worry about changing that on these. The 1.6 board was made early 2004 and on, I believe, so you can look that up online though. All right, let's get this board back in here, because I want to see if this thing turns on. Make sure my wires are out from under it. There, and it's in there. There we are. Let's plug our controller ports back in. Our power buttons. Okay. Our power supply unit. Get that out of the way. Plug our fan back in. Go. That should be everything I need. Now this one I have already been in here before a year ago, and done the thermal paste on the GPU and CPU. So I don't need to do that again. Plug that into the board and into the back of the disk drive. Plug my yellow cable in there too. There we go. And sit this guy back inside the case. There it is. And the hard drive. Need to make sure the hard drive wires go up the side here properly into the holder. There. There we go. There. And my 3 screws, one in the middle. There we go. Tuck this wire back in and plug the hard drive in. There we go. We should be ready for the case. Okay, let's get the lid. You know what? Let's plug it in with the lid off. So if something's wrong, I don't want to have to take the lid back off again. Okay, moment of truth. Oh yeah, there it is. Perfect. It just flashes green and orange because there's no controller plugged in. Awesome. And that is how you fix an Xbox, apparently. This is my first time doing this, and everything went well. So let's put the case back on. Other way. There. Perfect. Flip her over. Unplug it again. There we go. That's the case back together. It's a working Xbox again. Let's hook it back up. And we'll plug a controller in so we can actually test it this time. There we are. Perfect, there we go. Seems like everything works perfectly. Cool, well that's been a successful project. I'm glad the Xbox is working again because I really like my original Xbox. So yeah, see you in the next video where I don't know what I'm doing next. So see you in the next video.